Everybody, how y'all doing? It is Monday and I got all the controls here, so the buses. Yeah, you always hear yourself in your headphones. Y'all know what I mean. So happy Monday to you, and maybe Tuesday on the other side of the world. Welcome nevertheless. Favor be unto you. Speak it over here all the time because I don't know about you. I like when favor shows up in my life, particularly when I'm not expecting it and when I'm not even aware of it. Yeah. So anyway, speaking favor over all the tribe. How are y'all? Y'all have a good weekend. Hello, living above. How you doing? Hey, Kaz. Going to see you tomorrow, hopefully. I saw Marsha Price. Marsha, I got your emails here a little bit ago. Got some coming back to you. Hello, Nina. How you doing, my dear? Let's see, Susie Q. How are you? Robert V, I know, is in the house. I saw you there, Robert. I think the 23rd works. So Robert has invited me on his channel. So hey, Gaia, what's up on the 23rd? Delta Hook, how are you doing? Favor to you as well, Austin Space. So looking forward to that. And then I think it's July 3rd. That's the celebration day for Brian. And hello, Marsha. I think of you. So I got you an email. Now I got you in my head. So there you go. Hey, Shannon, what's up? Posey, good to see you. And Donna D. Loretta, what's up? Hotter than heck here, man. Gonna be a hot one. We went from what seemed like the eternal lasting winter to bam, in your face, baby. 100 degrees. So it sucks. I'm not from the South. I don't like the South. I mean, the South's okay. I lived in Texas, but I don't like the heat and the humidity. Hey, David Castle, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Emperor Rex, greetings to you. And Scotty Boy, what's happening? Reality notification twice. Good to see you. Kimberly, greetings. Favor to all of us. Suzanne, good to see you. Wow, so interesting Saturday and Sunday for sure. It seems like H.P. Lovecraft has a weird effect on people. Yeah, and I didn't get just one comment. There was a couple of emails. It freaked a lot of people out. And there goes the example of duality. I get it. I'm researching the guy. I got one of his books. This is the commemorative addiction. There you go, on the Necronomicon. And I can't see what everyone is all worked up about. I am a big fan of Dean Koontz. Read just about every book he had. There was a book out there, man, I'm going back 30 plus years, called Carrying Comfort. That was a weird one. Whew, wow. But I gotta be candid with you. I don't see what the big deal. People are, different perspectives. I contend that if you're a human being and you're in this realm, in essence, you are a portal. Think about it. You, as your own individuality and consciousness, you are a self-created portal. You're a portal within portals. We all are a portal into this reality, this blending of these tactile bodies that allows us to have, this is the supercomputer. This body is a supercomputer. It allows me to feel different things. I can feel the difference between something plastic, something soft. I mean, it's amazing. At the same time, my brain is calculating billions upon billions of calculations on microseconds. And I have adapted into this. But I'm still a portal. Why? Because my consciousness, although blended, imprinted upon this supercomputer, which is marvelous. And we all know what happens when the supercomputer goes awry. Sickness, there's all sorts of stuff. And so my portal is that I know I'm a sentient being. I know I have that spatial perspective that I am both an experiencer experiencing the moment, but I'm also an observer. I'm observing what I'm doing. Some say that we live in an ever predictable past because none of us can live into the future because we're actually creating the future within us. Weird. So I know there was one individual who, I get it, was real, adamant that, you shouldn't be talking about this. You're opening up portals and you're just in. Listen, here's the reality. If our Wayne Steiger is opening up a portal that's going to impact mankind, I may consider it a little bit more. But seriously, I was involved in a religion for 50 years called Christianity. I was opening portals all the time. I was conjuring spirits all the time. I was, in a plane of existence, but in another plane at the same time. I get it. And, the one thing about the occult, and all the occult is hidden knowledge. Why did they hide it? The power structure is always afraid of that which might get out. And so they bury it. It's in darkness. And that's how the mind, the God spell starts, because we're so heavily indoctrinated into this duality that seems like it's all right if you perceive it to be light. Oh, well, that's cool because you're dealing with a holy God. Well, you're dealing with Jesus, brother. And, that's only light. Light is artificial. Darkness is the natural state of everything. Don't believe me? Read all the books. Very beginning. In the beginning, there was darkness. But yet, most people fear the darkness. And, I often ask people, so what do you think is going to happen the minute you die? What, you think there's going to be spotlights on you? Bum, 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 bum! It's, I don't think it's going to be that way. Maybe it is. I mean, that's cool. I could kind of dig that. And now arriving on stage, Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith comes to us after X amount of years. Yeah, can you dig that? And now Mr. Smith is off to his paradise. That'd be kind of cool. So what's else happening? Hey, Gilbert, what's good? Hey, Brandy, good to see you, beloved abstract. I guess my point here is I am respectful of all people's perspectives and beliefs, opinions. I can dig that. But don't project your fear on my reality. My reality's had enough of the fear indoctrination, the fear about life, fear about death, fear about judgment, fit of fear. Fed up with it. It's a suck way to live. And, I dig it that if you think that there are boogeymens everywhere, listen, there are. That's the reality. There are boogeymen. There are very, well, it depends on how you perceive what beauty is. Guess it kind of depends on what you say is ugly. The thing about HP is I've been reading, and I read extensively this weekend. Thank you for those who sent links and articles. But, you got to really dig where this cat was at. I mean, let me tell you something. There was a couple of different trips that I had on LSD that it's why I know Now, you could say that I was tripping. I was stoned, baby. But man, I was digging the different realities. And I could literally see the different life forms. It freaked me out at first. Got to be candid with you. It's because now I was just, I hadn't even turned 16 yet. I was 15. And I took some orange sunshine. Still remember it very vividly. And that was my first introduction into this type of, I didn't know about HP, Howard. I didn't know about him. Didn't know his story. He had a marvelous mind. I mean, that's without a doubt. But again, it's what's your perception of what is ugly. What constitutes light? I can tell you the creatures, the beings that I saw, and I saw them multiple times. They're there. They're here, and it's interesting. It's like you're looking through a window pane. And that's interesting because that's the other time I've actually seen them was window pane. You're actually looking through window panes of reality. Now, this is obviously a reality that is, well, very different from ours. Very different. As he wrote, and I'm reading in his stories, it's a very interesting book. To me, it's like reading Stephen King and, Kuntz and, all the stories that he wrote, and they do take you places. I love it. That's what a book is supposed to do. It's supposed to take you to those unseen realms. And if you look at these creatures, well, again, it's kind of what, I mean, for him to get in this place, man, I mean, you got to give the dude, if anything, a big high five for the fact that he even ventured there. These are, again, creatures that are intelligent, apparently. Very intelligent, apparently. I don't know if these are the old ones. I mean, they were here before man was, and I don't think that they were necessarily bipedals. I mean, bipedals only serves its purpose in a gravity environment. Think about it. If you don't have gravity, your legs kind of become pretty useless. But it is interesting just if you study these pictures. I mean, and as I understand that some of these are interpretations from H.P. Lovecraft's works. I find them curious. I mean, is this a violent realm? Well, I don't know. It's different. I mean, the symbolisms, the sigils, the incantations themselves, the invocations. I mean, it's this is what happens. I mean, if you came upon this being and he spoke to you, would you freak out? Would you run screaming, or would you allow him to speak? Most times they're going to speak inside your head. Words are very useless. They're an unnecessary burden. Words can be easily manipulated, changed, altered, disguised. The true invocation, the true evocations, the true spells really are from here or from here. Depends on your perspective. But I wonder what kind of wisdom this individual could tell me. What worlds could he describe to me that my naivety of my mind, because if you're here in this plane on earth, you're indoctrinated. You're indoctrinated because we all are, thinking that we're human beings and that somehow we are the center of the universe and its glory. I don't know if, in these realms, again, I think a body becomes pretty much, well, you would have to be able to adapt very quickly. And again, we're going to get a group. I know Steve Zerlich, we have David, there's several others that have said, and I think this will be an interesting discussion. Dex actually just going through the interpretations of his works. I actually ordered the adult coloring book. I think it's going to be interesting. I do mandalas all the time. But I've seen creatures like this, not this exact one, but I've seen many of them that are in similarity. And I don't know what am I supposed to be afraid of? What, is there a second death? Even in the spirit realm, is there a spiritual death that we're somehow unaware of? Maybe, I mean, seriously, what is the fear factor here? To possess you? Most people have more spirits possessing them than they'll ever realize. And some people pass over. When the vassal is no more, you're going to see him getting off the bus. And they're going to be going, well, where can we go now? But yeah. I mean, these to me are, it's interesting when you think about the octopi. And I was doing some research on the octopi. Do you know how many legs an octopus has? In the chat room, I know there's a little delay. See how many people know. But the interesting thing about the octopi, they really don't belong on Earth. They don't. They're an alien species. And I couldn't help but not think on some of the things that they have now found how intelligent. They actually say octopuses, are smarter than most people. And I wonder if these may be, in fact, sentinels. Remember, the one place that we have never fully explored is our oceans. They say we've only explored about 15%, if that. And these beings, I mean, I don't know what plane they exist in. I believe that they're here because Earth is not just a one-dimensional plane of existence. It truly is this jewel, much like Carl Sagan was trying to explain in Contact. The Earth really is, it has the environment for multidimensional coexistence. And now you look at this one here, and so is your interpretation that this is attacking this spirit being? Is that what you think is here, that she's about to be devoured? Not at all. Reverse it. She's actually controlling this being, this intelligent being. It's where the dragons come from. And actually, it depends on how you have been trained to see things. Actually, this could be very much a sign of great affection. Much like how a dog will get on its back sometimes or put its paw out there. You see, it's a matter of how you, again, where does your mind really stop? And is it always on the defensive? Is that what it is? Is that what it is? Because if you're always on the defensive, it's going to suck on the other side for you, man. Until you get your shit together. Because, it's not what has been told to us. People got this crazy, and I had it, this Never land called Heaven or Hell. I have a book here recommend it, well, somewhere, how they invented hell. Yeah, it's a God spell. Hell doesn't exist. Why would hell exist? Why would heaven exist? So if your goal here is to begin to master this realm and then take the mastery that you have now learned here and now begin to apply it in the realm that we are all bound for, then you are truly fulfilling your mission. And you know, if I can get to know these beings even subconsciously, I mean, fear will draw fear. Curiosity will bring curiosity of knowledge. How do I not know that this is probably maybe Elvis in a different realm? You know, the dude's a rock star, man. That's what I'm talking about. You know, it depends on what you perceive this. And, you know, hey, listen, he's probably got, you know, a huge fan base. I'd like to get to know this dude. He probably can give me the lay of the land. I don't see anything threatening. And even this, got to tell you what this reminds me of, and go and look it up. Fact check me on this. This looks, it's a dust mite. This is exactly kind of what a dust mite looks like. And I thought to myself, isn't it interesting? All of us on us got these type of creatures on us. You actually, all human bodies do. You have this type of life form that eats the residue off of your eyelids at night. You've got other creatures of this nature that consume your skin that you're shedding all the time. You got them on the inside of you, in your gut. The probiotics, you know, the good things, that bacteria. It's, again, just a matter of your perspective. What are we dealing with here? I think we're dealing, and you know, if this is what the interpretation of what HP was seeing, and I got to tell you, I dig the dude's writing. He's got a really cool way of writing. His descriptors and his word choices are, as I told Lynn, they're very pleasant to read. They really are. Definitely, you know, early 20th century mindset, late 19th century, but you know, yeah. And if there's another realm where, let's just say, an incarnation. See, one of the things I have a problem with incarnation, they're always saying it's back into this realm. You know, there comes a point in time where if you ain't got, if you haven't figured it out, then son, it's time for you to move your ass on. And the fact of the matter is, you just failed this one. That's all right. That's all right. There's about 1 billion more ahead of you, but I don't believe they're all in this realm. I believe many will go into a realm like this. What better way? I mean, it's kind of the Klingon spiritual approach. Battle, honor, above all else, mastery of the skills, mastery of the arts. And does this dude scare you? Really shouldn't. It's tied directly to virtually every belief system that's out there. So anyway, for what it's worth, it's really just the perspective. You know, in my library, I have Anton LaVey's notes. He actually wrote, he's the one who wrote the Satanic Bible. If you haven't seen that series, go and read it. We covered the Satanic all the way up until the invocations. I did not cover those. This is John Sweeney's book, Inventing Hell. If you really are stuck into this paradigm, this is a good book to get. It'll break it from you. You know, I'm learning a lot about Set. Set is what we came to know as Satan. And, you know, I have, again, the occupant of Baphomet. We covered this. This is a deep little book, man. I want to tell you what. It'll, yeah, um, there's all sorts of grimoires in here. Grimoires, right. One of my favorite is the Lesser Keys of Solomon. I've learned so much about this book in the book of learning about sigilology, understanding how to control. I know the names of the 72 archons, demons, angels. In fact, I have one spell in here that can actually control Yahweh. See, the problem is if I know his name, I can control him. That's why the true name of God, and any Jewish person will tell you this, the Jews don't know what the name is. They lost it. Everyone gets their panties in a wad, you know. Well, no, it's Yeshua. No, it's Jesus. Would y'all get your heads out of your asses? It ain't any of that. I don't know what the name of God is. When they went to Babylon captivity, it got lost. That's a hell of a predicament to be. And then you got books like this. This is a great history book. Akhenaten, the first pharaoh. They weren't human. And it goes on and on and on. So we're going to continue into the book of the old ones. There's a knowledge that needs to be learned. And there's some people that they listen here and this is how they learn. And if that offends you because you think that this may cross a line, then the best thing I can tell you is I speak favor over your life and come back and check in a number of times. We'll always are covering something new here. So I want to get into a book. Give me 1 second as he pulls this up. Okay. This is the book. We'll get into that one later. By the way, I'll get into this. So this is an Islamic point of view on astral projecting. Now, I thought that was just far out because a lot of what we read in that realm really kind of comes from much more of a Hebraic point of view. And I thought this one was interesting because it starts right out in the name of Allah. When I hear Allah, I always think all other gods. That's what it is. But this is an interesting book. I want to get into a little bit of it. Because all of us astral travel. Most are unaware of it. Most are at what we would call the kindergarten level. And most never develop above that. They're stuck there. And that's cool. They'll find out that, you know, they'll have to learn to crawl on the other side before you walk. I mean, so it says this site introduces the concept of spiritual travel. Spiritual travel is a form of out-of-body experience done voluntarily to achieve a spiritual goal. In order to have an out-of-body experience, the soul or consciousness of the individual must temporarily leave the physical body. During out-of-body experience, the physical senses shut down. When this occurs, an entirely new world opens up to the individual. Spiritual travel is a special type of out-of-body experience where the individual's awareness is heightened and he or she is able to make decisions and direct the experience. A little key for you. Start practicing in your dreams. If you're in a dream, start practicing and saying, stop. Now, if you can take control of your super, that what we would actually is a super consciousness, and interject into the dream world. It's a true world. It really is. It's a reality. There are billions of humans right now visiting that. It's an actual realm. And if you become master of that realm, then your next one is going to be even more far out. Spiritual travel is sometimes called transcendent or ecstatic experience because it deals with the inner senses rather than the physical senses. It also deals with states of being seemingly independent of the physical world. The purpose of spiritual travel. The goal of spiritual travel is mystical and transcendent religious experience. The reason for an interest in spiritual travel is that it provides a unique means of approaching these distant and extraordinary states of religious awareness. It does this by exposing the spiritual seeker to a series of lessons about the nature of identity and the freedom of the soul to travel in various non-physical environments. I'm just want to stop right here. How is this any different than H.P. Lovecraft's, where he went? How is this any different than what Stephen King or any other genre? The idea of a good author is to pull you into that world. And particularly if there's substance to that world, which there is. These lessons gradually introduce the spiritual traveler to a variety of psychic and spiritual states containing increasing degrees of individual freedom and spiritual awareness. In addition, spiritual travel provides an inner laboratory where the seeker can experiment with techniques and methods of moving through the more limited psychic states of awareness and into these distant spiritual realms. Now, the thing about it is, I hope all of you realize, even though this is written in an Islamic context, it is a wealth of knowledge. And don't let the biasness of a mind or a thought prevent you from ascertaining knowledge that, well, I'll just say it's far out. Near-death experiences as a limited form of spiritual travel. One common form of spiritual travel seen in the modern West is a near-death experience. The concept of near-death experience was developed by Dr. Raymond Moody Jr. in his book, Life After Life in 1975. In near-death experience, a person comes close to death due to sickness or injury, and the person's soul temporarily leaves the physical body. In the early stages of a near-death experience, the spiritual traveler usually views his or her lifeless body and the surrounding physical environment from a short distance away. All of us we're in this club. I mean, raise your hand virtually. Yeah, we know what this is about. This is usually followed by a shift of awareness to a non-physical environment in the later stages of the experience where the traveler encounters a spiritual guide or being of light. Near-death experience is a limited form of spiritual travel in three respects. First, it occurs spontaneously as a result of a medical crisis rather than voluntarily as part of a spiritual search. True. Second, though the individual seems to exercise some control over out-of-body movements in the physical environment, the more religious or other worldly elements of the experience are usually controlled, get this, by some other worldly elements of the experience, which are usually controlled by some outside force, such as a guide. This guide directs the near-death experience without any request or permission from the traveler, who has little power over what occurs. Third, near-death experience, while many times uplifting and life-changing, is usually limited to a series of repeating states or stages and is not as broad or wide-ranging as a spiritual travel experience. Fortunately, It's not necessary for an individual to undergo a near-death experience. Far out. I mean, because they suck. I mean, the fact of the matter that you're in that, NDE state is just not the most conducive environment. It's true. Spiritual travel is a tool for the spiritual seeker. An individual can engage in a spiritual practice designed to induce spiritual travel experiences. It is possible for the advanced spiritual traveler to control the contents of a spiritual travel experience. I love the eloquency of how this guy writes. I mean, because you don't have to be religious to be spiritual. And, spiritual is a condition. It is a reality. It is a state. It is possible for the advanced spiritual traveler to control the contents of the spiritual travel experience. So in here in the book, and it's only 127 pages, it says that this site includes discussion and analysis of spiritual travel, the relationship of spiritual travel to dreams, spiritual travel experiences from the Bible to a variety of literary sources, spiritual travel experiences from personal sources, techniques and methods to induce spiritual travel experience. I think that's always cool. The importance of religious symbols in spiritual travel. Boom. I mean, this is really one that, I did a whole series on Solomon's Magick. I did a whole series on sigils. And there's a reason for that. And so many of you, by the way, tomorrow, and I'll repeat this before I go, but I first started the channel on June 15th, 2014. How about that? So tomorrow, what's the second look? It'll be kind of, I think we're just going to do a little, we're going to have some fun on it. Let's see, the relationship of spiritual travel to death and dying and near-death experience, reference to books of the system of mysticism and spiritual travel. Let's go on. I want to bring this in. Surfing the mantric wave. I love that. Mantras are a common method used to reach destinations during spiritual travel. Mantras, in my limited experience, are a somewhat advanced form of spiritual travel suited to those who are capable of traveling in a disembodied state. Without bodily sensations or body image, practicing mantras during spiritual travel has the effect of moving the soul through different inner spaces, much like a surfer rides a wave. They provide a definite sense of continuous forward movement, with the mantric vibration or current acting as the basis of propulsion. Boom! Wow! So, there's a book I read back in, when did Bill Gates write it? It's called Business at the Speed of Thought. And it was interesting because I love how this guy brings this out, is that you don't think about propelling yourself in empty space. I mean, think about it. How do you move in the spirit realm? Do you think it? Possibly. Or are you like me? And I still have this vein in me. I'm an adrenaline junkie. I love it. I repelled. I climbed mountains. I did spelunking, even to the point when I got stuck in the freaking cave and thought I was going to die. Claustrophobic is a real challenge. Talk about a badass demon. I kicked that son of a bitch's ass. Got out alive. So anyway, the author will attempt to describe elements of travel by mantra, but as with the most deeper experience, the words simply fail to convey the experience. Ain't that the truth? It's like telling someone who is devoid of the sensory of sight what the color blue looks like. Imagine someone who's never tasted chocolate. Hey, Rennie, how are you doing? Love you, hon. Uh, Rennie has always sent me chocolate, and it's chocolate. Oh, I could do a whole show on chocolate. I might do that. One curious thing about travel by mantra is that though the mantra is being silently chanted by a single voice, the practitioner's inner voice, the mantric sounds often seem larger and more all-pervading than sounds of a single voice could normally produce. Wow. Imagine, ladies and gentlemen, Soul Tribe members, that you can be in a place where your voice is not limited to simply the larynx, that your voice becomes the voice of a god. Think about that. Yeah. Instead, they sound as if they are being intoned by a chorus of voices. This creates the sense that the traveler is not riding the mantric wave or current alone. The wave, therefore, seems more like a bus than a single passenger car, with many beings riding together through a common environment, experiencing the same scenery. That right there, I mean, seriously, we could get really into some deep shit on this one, man. I mean, what is the dude saying to us here? So how I interpret that is this. If you understand your position of who and what you are, then you will not have a problem being able to acclimate yourself to the other side. And there are obviously hierarchies, there's customs. I'm convinced of this. My guide showed me that there are those who, when they die, they will go to a place, a world, a reality, a plane that will as close match their perceptions of what they think heaven or paradise is. There are those who, unfortunately, and it's only for a very brief time, because you do eventually awake to the reality that it's an illusion, who will go into a place of much like Dante's Inferno. They'll find out, and it literally just, and they suddenly realize that they're in a different plane of existence. There are some who are probably more versed, have a better, at least a foundational understanding that the spirit realm is not, it's not finite, it's infinite. And that the reality is of this planet is that we're coexisting in multi-dimensions at the same time. We're just stuck in one. And I don't know if we're stuck. I don't know if we signed up. I mean, I'm still retrieving my memory. And I'm one pissed off hombre, I got to tell you. Now, it could be, as my guy told me, and I have several, that, dude, you signed up for the experience, man. Quit bitching. So, okay. Let's continue. And yeah, if you want the book, just email me. I'll get this out, because again, it's an interesting perspective from a Islamic point of view. And you have to admit, so far, what is, this is far out. I love the knowledge that I'm soaking up. This is several times I've read this and I'm going, yeah. The author says, in my experience, mantric spaces usually have no horizon, and as such are more like moving through an underwater environment than moving through a normal atmosphere. The spaces have different textures, densities, emotional qualities, which create varying backgrounds, sensations that permeate the space. These qualities naturally also determine the sensation of those traveling through the space. Now, last week, Trina and I were talking. As a child, I was always out of my body, and I was in a place, a dimension. The best thing I can say, it was, like being in cotton, but it wasn't cotton. But it was all encompassing, and it was the most beautiful blue green yeah. But we all do it. Many of us as children did it a lot more. And unfortunately, there are those who are listening, you forgot that you're already an ace pilot. You've been out there many times. It's time to go back. This visual component may be also vary, but a complex visual field of changing patterns and colored lines, sometimes in 3D, is one class of imagery that is familiar to me. Now, I'll just say again, I achieve these states using LSD, other hallucinogenics. Shaman, and I know I've got this, I guess the shaman women have known this throughout the ages. And again, I don't promote this, but from my experience, I became very aware. I mean, one of the things that I always really enjoyed, and I always enjoyed it, I could actually see the ground undulating in paisleys of different colors. And as I would walk, I would get the sensation that I could see space condensing as I walked. My point is that as where I'm at in life now and through the experiences I have experienced, this is not a foreign place to me. There's many different doors to get into an arena. Just depends on which path. The thing is, you got into the arena. So enjoy the show. That's what I say. Remember the days back in Circus Soleil? Yeah. I hope they bring that back. Let's see. The author has experienced with different mantras, but one that seemed to work best was one that had been practiced for many hours in normal meditation. More positive emotional and spiritual energy had been poured into this sound during meditation, and the mantra seemed to function like a battery storing the spiritual energy. As a charged religious symbol, it therefore had the power to move me into and through radically altered states of consciousness when other less familiar mantras had much less effect when practiced while out of the body. Wow. Oh, come on. This is just far out. I mean, all of us are hitching a ride vicariously by his words, but to actually, yeah. My intuitive sense is that those who are more familiar with disembodied states of light and energy use mantras the way we in the physical world use vehicles to take them to many destinations in the inner worlds. However, I just want to stop that. Are you getting the idea about the inner worlds? Yeah. Quantum. However, mantras are used to travel to diverse dimensions in the psychic and spiritual worlds rather than streets and highways in the physical world. Many of these mantric roads are ancient pathways created by spiritual explorers eons ago. So can I stop here and say, all right, so we can go over here to the book of the old ones. Now, tell me where I'm wrong on this. How is this any different of a path than what we have read right over here for a person to be able to get into the astral realms? And these disembodied states of light and energy. You know, some people said, well, they're very dark beings, evil beings. How do you know that? And if you're going to make a comment, I want you to define what foundation you are defining evil as. And do the same with good. Because if you're honest, you're going to find out most people are, again, to our Western culture and our society, we have this perception that God be good, the devil be bad. And that's what evil is, Wayne. What? The devil. No, you're just giving me a make-believe personification of something that doesn't exist. I want to know what evil is. How dare you understand? Don't you understand? God is good. Well, which God? Now that you want to say that that is your foundation, which God? Most of the gods I have known, including the Christian God, the Jewish God, all of them are assholes. They're a bunch of egomaniacs that there's no way they exist. Because if that exists, you best get your ass busy now because you're going to need it over there. Boom. Well, there you go. So he finishes up on another function of the mantra, somewhat unrelated to spiritual travel, is that mantras can link individuals with gurus, entities, and gods. I like this guy's honesty. So right there, we got three different class of beings: gurus, entities, and gods. Has no qualm saying there are a lot of gods. Yeah. If I had to give a score on this, I'd have to give it an A, simply on integrity. The empowered mantras given to a disciple during a spiritual initiation, when repeated, can act much like a dialing the number of a being in the inner worlds. The being may not always answer, but the line is there, and communication can occur over the line once the link is established. Wow, I love this stuff. The question also arises as to what mantras to use in spiritual travel. In general, the mantra or prayer chosen needs to come from the spiritual tradition of the practitioner follows. For instance, I could use a tune like, I could say my mantra would be Blue Jean Baby, LA lady, sings just for the band. See, it works. Why? Because that lifts me up. I'm on the beach, you know? Yeah. I'm it's tingling all over me. You know, I can just, yeah, that's a mantra. You know? So whatever it does, you gets that energy flowing. For those with a yogic orientation, using simply Sanskrit mantras, sometimes one syllables, is effective since they are sounds that are understood to originate in high spiritual planes and will therefore draw the practitioner towards those points of orientation. Origination, excuse me. Names of deities or Buddhas or names of respected living or inner spiritual guides can also be used as mantras. This is especially true if the practitioner has an inner or outer relationship with one of these beings. Simple prayers, such as the prayer of the heart from the Eastern Orthodox tradition, or phrases from the Psalms or the Lord's Prayer, can also be repeated, and they can function as mantras. Again, these names or phrases will act as powerful symbols since they usually have very positive spiritual associations for a person practicing the religious tradition connected with these deities, guides, or prayers. Wow. This is what I'm turning it into today. I mean, how much have we learned just in this short little part? We haven't even gotten into the real meat of it. Once the person has even a little experience with writing these mantric waves. This is what happened to me, was getting into that. He or she is presented with a new way of being that is not easily forgotten. The method of using mantras to travel is an advanced form of spiritual travel, since it requires considerable concentration. It is good to be able to experience this method of travel, but the real challenge is to catch the wave and then ride it long enough and with enough determination and skill to reach the spiritual states of cosmic light and sound. This is the goal of the true spiritual traveler, who by wisdom or by grace hopes to touch the infinite. Wow. We'll finish this up. Travel by mantra is perhaps the best way to direct the soul towards specific destinations in the psychic and spiritual universes. The experience of travel by mantra also justifies using the term spiritual travel rather than the more generic term like meditation or contemplation. This is because the phrase spiritual travel is much more, how shall we say, phenomenological descriptor of the actual experience than these other two less specific terms. As with all spiritual travel practices, it is important to emphasize that mantras should be used only for ethical purposes that further the practitioner's knowledge or for helping and healing others. Because the temptation is, and we'll start to cut out there, is you know, Shannon, I am writing a book and I do have, that's odd that you say that. Yeah. Well, thank you. um, One of the things how you deal with asshole gods is that you simply give them the thing they hate the most, and get this, is indifference. Oh, it drives them nuts. You can have disdain. Well, they can handle that. But when you're indifferent to a god, you are untouchable. You give them absolutely no power, none. Anyway, so, well, I hope everyone enjoyed this. I mean, to me, folks, this is what it's all about, isn't it? It's about learning. I mean, you know, I see so many channels that talk about astral travel and what have you, but it's for myself, it lacks sometimes of being able to look at for different perspectives from, you know, different religious points of view. In essence, all religion is a form of spiritual travel. I've seen it happen, people getting slayed in the spirit. That is a form of spiritual travel. I know people, particularly women, who became addicted to it. They would always go up into the hailing line, or, you know, because, you know, particularly if you had someone who was plugged in. When I would put my hand on people, I mean, they drop like flies. And there's others like that. Boom, it hits you and it slays you. This is exactly what it is. And, you know, you're in a blissful state of consciousness. It's a euphoric state. And here we're reading about that same euphoric state. Again, there's many different doors to the arena. The point is, you got into the arena. So, anyway. Well, thank you, Norseman. Appreciate that. That's very kind. Anyway, Jenny, you're absolutely right. Indifference is the worst. It is. I mean, it's for many, and to just tell you what it invokes is infuriation. I mean, it's like these people won't react. All right, folks. Indeed. Oh, this has been fun. You know, we ought to have a little bit. I know tomorrow, I think Kaz is going to come on, with Miss Trina, and heck, we might send out some more invites. Anyway, for 7 years being on YouTube, it's been fun. Have another 7 years. I don't know. Let's see. If the way you read some people out there, it's like the end is here. I don't think it's quite here. We're already on the precipice of the doorstep, but I think we got a little more time. Of course, I could be wrong. Okay. Thank you, Nina. I appreciate you, hon. Yeah, they did. It went way too fast. I looked over there and I went, dang. All right. Good, Kaz. Then we'll see you tomorrow for sure. Jenny, I have no doubt of that at all, my dear. None. All right, folks. Far out. Paul P. Yeah. There's more here than I had ever originally knew that have been with me for, I guess, almost the whole time. So, well, this has been far out. I enjoy this. I hope you did too. Thank you. It's just an honor to be here. Look at that. I look down. There is 111 thumbs up with 1 thumbs down, but it's still 1111. And so hit the thumbs up. Yeah. Thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. I do think that the guy that I said could look like Elvis, think about that. I mean, maybe the dude is a rock star on the other side. I don't know. Hey, Martin and Heidi, how you doing? Much love to y'all. Thank you. Hey, Lois, Cajun Queen, much love to you. So good to see you. Sky Walking Trace, is that one? That one pretty quick. All right, David Castle, much love to you. Thyla, good to see you. This is a good group here. Deborah Sloan, much love to you. And Dick, hello, how are you doing? Oh, you were the 111th. Groovy. All right. Susie Q, much love to you. Oh, Susie Q. Think agape love, Irving. Much love to you. Our superpower is love and peace. You project that, what is the being going to do? Sorry, man, I don't dig your energy. Well, just keep on going. All right. Much love to y'all. See you tomorrow with Miss Trina, and Kaz Hawks will be with us. All right, folks. Bye-bye.